Okay, a very quick video. Okay, I'm gonna do. Okay, this is off the back of the. Again, we're following on. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm following on from the thing that didn't happen the other day, from the 187 date of the 17th of August, which I believed was going to be the Hoover Dam collapse date. And I'm going to kind of explain why that didn't happen, maybe, here. Even though in the dollar bill, it would make logical sense that that was the day, okay? Let me backtrack really quickly before we get onto this Rust thing. Okay, so we had the 17th of August showing up right here with Washington, okay? Because, and if you don't know about these dollar bill folds and all the codes that are in the dollar bill, and you're new to this, the caveat is you're going to have to go back and watch some of my older videos and just get familiar with these bill folds and all the codes that are hidden in the dollar bill. I don't want to make this a long video, but we start here over here with the 213, okay? Then we added on 185 right here. We're looking at leaves and berries and this one, and that took us to August the 17th. And of course, when you fold this dollar bill correctly, this Washington forms the broken Hoover Dam, and then from there we go over another 85 days, and that takes us to a completion day, which is a fold, where this whole side here comes over with this side, and we end up with the 10th of November, okay, as a date that is written here at the top of the dollar bill, and that happens to be 85 days after the 17th of August. Oh, okay, so I was assuming that the dam was going to break on the 17th of August, and it still might. It may be a different year. I don't know exactly, or it may be another 187 type number that re-references somewhere back in here, because there are several different 187 numbers that are referenced throughout some of these, some of my findings, and there are, of course, more than one 9/11 days that are referenced as well. So it's difficult to pinpoint the exact time, I guess, or the exact date. It's difficult to exactly pinpoint these things, because everything's re-referenced so many times. Okay, I've already waffled enough, okay? So nothing happened this day, right? But here's the big but. But there, some interesting stuff has sort of come to light again, as per usual. I do a video saying, well, I think it's going to be this day, and then just almost immediately after the day, there's like some things just pop into my vision. I'm like, oh, look at this. And I think I'm now coming to the conclusion, like, well, it'll happen when it happens, but there's kind of a story being told here, and following along with like the process of deduction onto what is going on, is kind of explaining. I don't know, it just gives us more explanation on the meaning behind some of these numbers and why some of these events happen at certain times. And it all leads back to like this idea of rebirth and letting go of the false system that we're in. And it's like, we have all these little lead up events, which are just like little mini events, essentially. They're just the same little story over and over again. Anyway, I want to link back to this Rust thing, this Rust shooting, okay? Because I come across something interesting with Back to the Future the other day, and I don't know if anybody's ever. This is a pretty subtle link, okay? So I doubt there's anybody out there that's come across this before and put it in a video on YouTube. I haven't come across it. So this may be also new to you. I don't know. Maybe some of you out there have already spotted this one. I'm not sure. So without further ado, this Rust thing, okay, we're going to link it back to this the 17th of August via Back to the Future, and we're going to do some more little jumps right here, and things will become clearer as I go along, okay? But that's why I've just come back to this, just to explain that a little bit and where we're going from, okay? So Rust. So this shooting incident, right? And we're going to have to be a little bit familiar with some of the numbers in Back to the Future as well. But this thing with Alec Baldwin, yeah? This dude. Okay, Alec Baldwin. I want you to remember the name Alec right now, because this is the dude that does the shoot. Okay, now whether or not this is a real event, you know, I know that, I mean, I don't know how to explain this. I believe that there are certain events that are staged and there are certain events that are real. And I don't know how to say, you know, it's difficult to really, with as crazy as the world is, and I know from my own personal references and synchronicities that the crazy stuff happens all over. It happens for me in my life, so it must, ergo maybe some of these incidents that look staged are real, and some of them that maybe don't look staged, maybe they are staged, if you know what I mean. It's difficult to I don't know if it's difficult to say for sure, but this definitely seems staged to me. But then again, how, you know, who am I to say what's going on? Okay, first thing, it's October the 21st, and that is a straight Back to the Future reference, because this is the date that Marty and Doc and Jennifer go into the future to 2015. Okay, and so you'll see that number. So we're going to see some of these numbers pop up, so keep in the back of your mind some of these numbers. But this is where we go into the future, and what do we have in Back to the Future 2 in the future? We have the hoverboard scene, which is, I believe, with the courthouse getting destroyed, well, kind of destroyed. That's the breaking of the dam, okay? That scene there, the Hoover, the hover, I've explained all that in previous videos, okay? So we have that scene in Back to the Future 2. We have a direct reference to Back to the Future 2 here, October the 21st. Now, we've got the 151, okay? What's interesting about the 151? Well, we can do some interesting jumps with like 15 and 51, and we've also got the 511 of remember the 5th of November, and so we've got some numbers that keep showing up in previous decodes and that are very important. Yeah, the 11 and the 55, extremely important numbers. So when you see this start popping up, you know, the alarm bells start ringing, sort of thing. Okay, now this whole thing, I'm assuming everybody's up to speed on this. This was a year ago now, and it was this shooting of Helena Hutchins, and with a revolver, okay, and Alec Baldwin supposedly shot her, okay, and also this dude also got shot as well, Joel Souza, maybe, but he didn't die apparently. Right, so now there's nothing really much more to say about this. We've got another, filming began on the 6th. But other than that, that's pretty much it on the numbers. So I don't really want to, I mean, they've managed to mention the 4th of October here, which of course is in Back to the Future as well, with the clock tower. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I ain't going to bother reading it right now, because I really just want to focus in on this Alec Baldwin and where this now shows up in Back to the Future. This reference to this gun malfunction. Okay. So right at the start of Back to the Future, and we're not in Back to the Future 2 now, we're back at the start with Doc, Doc showing Marty the time machine, and the Libyans have found him. He doesn't know how, but they found him. Okay, run for it, Marty. Now, Doc is going to hold off the Libyans with this revolver, okay? But he has a malfunction, and it doesn't work for him. So, we have the first gun malfunction, and Doc ends up getting shot by this dude, okay? And look at the coloration here. The rust, the brown color, okay? The rust color, okay? Okay. Dan, that's a pretty, okay, we've got a gun malfunction, okay. And Doc gets shot, okay. But this is the link, rust with this brown. Well, it gets better than this. This is actually the next scene on. Okay, so you have this guy shooting Doc, and then we have Marty running around the step van there, and this guy, they pull around, and he's about to shoot Marty, and I want to play this little spot here, just a couple of seconds, so you can hear what he says. Okay, again, this gun is about to malfunction now with this dude. Okay, because Marty doesn't get shot. Okay, and in fact the closed captioning's got gun clicking right here. Pay very close attention now to what he says. I'm getting ready to play. Ready? Okay, swearing in Arabic. He says, "You, Alec." Okay, let me just play it one more time. Okay, just so we can be clear. Okay, this is what I'm getting from this. And I wish that was a little louder, but I can't make it any louder. But listen carefully. Okay, you Alec. And in fact, I think he says it one more time as Marty's jumping in the DeLorean. Okay. Oh my, that's the link right there. The gun malfunctions, and we have him saying, "You Alec." Okay. So we have a definite kind of link to this film now with Rust, I think. Okay. So I thought, well, I'll stick Rust in the Gematrinator. So if that doesn't blow your mind, okay, when I put Rust in the Gematrinator, 78, okay? And of course, we're looking for the 178 number, the guy that's about to die and be reborn. It's the same date. It has to be the same date, okay? The day you let go of that part of yourself that's controlled by the Matrix, that creates the Matrix, which is the false ego, right? That's the part of you that has to die. That's the twin that has to die, right? That's the 187, yeah, the murder, death, kill. So that day has to be the same day as the rebirth day, yeah. And again, the rebirth is going to be, well, I think the rebirth is going to be this number right here, okay, 11 and 18. It's the balanced number at the center of this whole table of mine, the double cross of Lorraine table. It's the number of man, 18, and the number of the divine, the Holy Spirit, either the 55 or the 11. Yeah, at the center of this table, it's the 11. This is why 11 is so important. Okay, and the way that 11 re-references things, extremely important. Okay, so, you know, and this is why in Back to the Future we have the 88 and the 55 referenced so heavily, yeah? Those two things. The number of man again, the total for this column is 88, the total for the divine is 55. Those two things have got to combine to come out to 143. Okay? So, go back to the Gematrinator, and here's that 15 again, bear that in mind. And we also have a 30 and a 30. And in Back to the Future, the jumps that we are making from 1985, when we jump into the future, we're going 30 years to 2015, and when we go into the past, back to 1955, we're going 30 years. So we've got this 30-30 reference right here. Now, I'm going to explain why this is really important here in just a minute, right? Because this comes back to another number that's in the this number that's in the dollar bill. Okay, so we've got that link, we've got that done with the gun malfunction. We've got the 21st referenced, which is Back to the Future 2 now. We've got the 187, we got, well, the 78 reference, yeah, the death, okay? And so, and this also references a day as well, 7/8. And I'll explain that in just a second, how we're going to reference this day, because the day that we're trying to get to, I believe, and what's funny about this is a day that I was looking at. I've almost come full circle myself with the days that I was looking at when I first started looking at the dollar bill fold and the 1011 that's in the dollar bill. And this is the day we're trying to get back to here. This is what we're trying to get back to, yeah? 1118, okay? We're trying to get back to reference this. This is what all these other numbers are referencing back to the center here. So we have to have a day that references this number, okay? Now, let's go back to this, okay? And then let's go to a little table that I've got, a chart, one of my little scribbly messes, picture diagram thing, and we'll try and explain some of this stuff now, okay? So the dollar bill fold, okay, where the two sides come together is this fold right here, okay? This is, as I explained in the previous videos, this is the completion now, okay? The dam has fallen, and this is the completion, right? So we have the 811 here at the top, if you can see. There's the 8. Let's actually draw it in. There's our 8. Oh, bloody hell. Hang on a minute. Let's try that one more time. Actually, that's all right like that. We've got the 8. I don't know if you make that out. And then we've got the 11 on the inside of it, okay? 811, okay? But this is actually, if we remember our symbolism, this is the wiener going in to the pie, okay? There's the 11 in there. So this 811 is actually this is a 1 right here. This here is the 1. Oh my goodness, Dan. Start this again, okay? This is the 1 right here that's coming down here. Hopefully you can see my thing. Let's make that a bit bigger. So this is the 1, and then here's the 8. So this forms the 18. So what we've got here is this is the 8 here, and this is the 1 coming right here. So this is the 18, and here is the 11 on the inside of it. So we have an 1811 right here going into the 1011, okay, going into the pi. Remember, this is November the 10th right here, 314, the 314th day of the year. It's pi. We even have a little curly Q on the end of here, which forms a P, and an I right here. This is saying pi. The pi is the dartboard. The arrow right here, this 1, the member of the arrow, the penis, has to go shoot through the Vesica Pisces and hit into the middle of the dartboard there. That's where balance is, right at the center of the whole thing, okay? And this is what this is. This is the reference to the dartboard right here. Okay, bloomin' hell, okay? But what we have here, okay, is I've just probably clicked off something there I shouldn't have, but we've got this 811 right here at the top, and then again with the I'm re-referencing a lot of stuff that I've talked about, so this is gonna sound crazy to some people, but again, this is the mall, okay, and at one end of the mall we've got man, which is the Washington Monument, and then we have the reflecting pool right here, and then at the other end we have the Lincoln Memorial, okay, which is the temple, okay, is where the fiction is, okay. So we have the physical and the fictional right here, okay, across the reflecting pool. They are a reflection of one another, yeah. They're essentially the same thing, you know. It's like you looking in the mirror, okay. They're they're one side and another side of the same coin, okay? But this forms the mirror. This is the reflecting pool here. This is the National Mall, okay? And so this 811 here has to reference or be the same as this 1011, right? So we've got to have a number, you know, when these two join together, they become one. And we also have to have a number that's on either side of there that's a reflection of the same number, if you like. Okay, so what this November, the 10th date, we can now change to a different day. And I'm going to explain what we can change it to. And I've got them written right here. Okay, so we've got this 811 here. Okay, and we've got 1011 here. Okay, but I'm going to look at a different 1011 because instead of the 11th, the 10th of the 11th, the 10th of November, I'm going to switch it now to the 11th of October. Okay, and this is one of the numbers I was looking at very early on, just based off of Back to the Future again and the whole thing with October and this number in the dollar bill, without doing all the other decodes that I've done subsequently from there. This was just a number that I'd looked at before, thinking, well, you know, that kind of makes sense, you know. Well, if we change this to October now, okay, we have another, we have a 1011. So we have an 811 and a 1011. Well, the 8 and the 10, yeah, October, named for the 8th month, but is the 10th month. They're the same thing, okay? 8 is 10 here. And if we combine those two things, we get the 18, okay? So we have 1811 referenced right here, okay? 1811, okay? We can add this 10 that's down the bottom here and this 8 and get 1811, okay? Again, the two 11s that are in the Hoover Dam, yeah, the two inlet towers on each side of the Hoover Dam. Pretty interesting, isn't it? And I believe, don't quote me on this, right? But because the way I'm wondering, actually, there's a time change difference there where you go from this might be interesting, and I may not be getting this 100% right, but bear with the idea here. We've got one clock on one side of the dam and one clock on the other side of the dam, okay? And what's interesting about it is for part of the year those clocks are separated, but because I think Arizona doesn't do a daylight savings or something like that, I'm guessing at part of the year those two clocks are the same, and then during another part of the year they're different. Don't quote me on that, but again, the idea of like them being the same time but different times again, okay, and having these numbers the same but different. Anyway, I'm probably getting a little bit way out there for people now and sounding a bit crazy, but you know, we can get this 1811, yeah, our center balance point, the number of man right here, from these numbers. And this is kind of something that I'd done in I mean, if you were to go back and look at some old videos, I'm sure I talked about all of this stuff before. So what's interesting about this day now, let's go back to the 17th of August, back to the start with why something didn't happen on the 17th of August, and I'm kind of trying to explain this a little bit now, is that, you know, when Marty jumps back to 1955, okay, he comes out of time, yeah? Remember the number plate? I actually bought that number plate from when we went on holiday as kids to Hollywood, before I ever lived in America, and I remember buying that little number plate. It was a plastic version of it. I bought that. I'm pretty sure I bought that when we went to Universal Studios. Out of time, okay? The 17th of August, what I believe is going on here, okay? So we have the 185 jump, and then I thought this was going to be the day that it all kicked off, because remember, we're going to see some serious shite, as Doc puts it, when this baby hits 88 miles an hour. Because if we go back to the top of the dartboard, the thing where we're trying to get to the center of, okay, so the very top of the dartboard, and then we're going to make that journey to the bullseye, okay, with the 88 and 55. We go 88 miles an hour and we get to this date as well, okay, another 88 days from this day here, 521, takes us to this August the 17th. And again, when we jump 85 days from August the 17th, which is our other set of leaves and berries, it takes us to November the 10th, okay, the pie day, the completion of the pie, yeah. So we've gone and we've hit the bullseye right here, okay. Well, when we're doing the jump on the dartboard, okay, and we do the 88 miles an hour, it takes us to here. We need something else to balance this 88, right? And so we know we need the 55 from our chart of Lorraine, okay? So this is one tower, and this is the other tower, and in the middle we're out of time, ground zero, okay? This is 0, okay? Nothing happens. We're out of time. Marty came out of, that's what erased when I pressed undo there. This out of time, Marty's out. We're out of the timeline right now. We're waiting. We're in limbo, okay? Nothing appears to be happening, okay? Because Marty remanifests back on the same day, except he's had some time, you know, in 1955, okay? So he's had some time in 55, and we're going to have 55 days, okay? And when we add on 55 days, it takes us to the counterpart of this November the 10th day. We get to October the 11th, okay, with the 55 days. So I don't know if you can make this out now. This starts becoming really, really interesting. And we have 2 days here, okay, which are now twin days, which we can get to from the 17th of August. And we're re-referencing back to this day now, when we're in the October version of this, okay? Because this would be, yeah, a 9 or 11, and then a 10, okay? And this would be, okay, this is either an 8, a 10, and an 11, okay? And this is the numbers that we have right here, okay? I don't know if this is making sense to people. Okay, what is even more interesting about this now is if we put 9/11 in the mix, okay, because we know that's a for certain date, okay. We put 9/11 in, and then we go to 10/11, which is the October the 11th, and then we go to November the 10th. Guess what it is? It's a 30-day jump each time, yeah, like the 30-year jump in Back to the Future, like the 30 and the 30 that's in Rust, okay? Super interesting. But what gets even more interesting is that this whole thing kicks off, you know, when Marty originally goes down to the mall to see Doc. This is the 26th. The date is the 26th, okay? And 26 happens to be midpoint between these 2 days, okay? Between these 2 sets of twins here, these twin days, okay? I'm wondering if these are the twins now. I don't know, you know. What's the twin, you know? Are these 2 twins? Actually, I'm looking at this the wrong way, you know. This is November the 11th, and this one, and then in the middle we have ground zero between these 2 twins, and we have a 30 leap, and then we have it re-referenced here with the 26th, which is 15 days either way between these two. Okay, that 15 there. Okay, so the 26th, the day they use in Back to the Future, is a reference to these 2 days here, I believe, is pointing to this set of numbers. Okay, which is basically the same set of numbers, just flipped. Okay. Oh dear, oh dear. What more do I want to say about this? Okay, I want to go back to the Gematrinator very, very quickly, because I got some other things in here. I've got the Helena Hutchins, and we can look at her number 163. Okay, the 163 again is the if we take 18 and we divide it by 11, which is how you get the golden ratio in the chart of Lorraine, that comes out at 1.63 reoccurring. So it's 1.63636363. That's our golden ratio right there for 1118. Okay, for those two numbers. Okay, so that's super significant that we have that reference there, because again, it's re-referencing back to that, and it references back to several other events as well. But I just want to keep this simple for right now, okay? And then we have that 215 again. I can't remember what I was going to say about 215. Apart from that is our start date. Again, that set of numbers with the 521. Was something else with that 215. I said bear that in mind. Oh dear, I've forgotten what it was. But anyway, there's that 215. Okay, and then we've got the Joel character, Sousa or whatever the hell his name is, and we've got this 911 reference right here. And yeah, we've got some other interesting numbers like the 47. But really, you know, there's a couple of numbers that really poke out there. You know, the 78. I mean, interesting stuff. Okay. And we can even look at, I don't know if we can look at anything else. Oh, I believe she doesn't we don't get her birthday. And this character here, the 14th of June, so we're one day off of again, that's interesting. We're also one day off another 187 number. And we've got some other interesting references we can do with 14th of June. I'm not doing it right now. What else did I want to say about this? I think I want to leave that right there now, without making this any more complicated than it needs to be. I will say one more thing about this 51, this 151 reference right here, okay? You know, the 5th of November, but let's just go back to, let's go to this thing, okay? And I'll tell you what's interesting, right? Because we can do a couple more little jumps, okay? From this August the 17th, okay? We can do, see we had 151 there? We can do a 51-day jump, okay? And what's interesting is this right here, okay, which combines to be 155 with this other one. So when we bring them together, it's a 151. But before we bring them together, right, we can go from Washington, the August the 17th, and we can add this 51 right here, okay? And not to mention it's a 15 again. But remember the little hoot owl, the hooter is right here, okay? When these two join together, there's the little hooter there. If we go 51 days from this day here, it's going to take us to the 7th of October, okay? And again, if we use October, the name, and the actual month as well, the number as well, so if we call it 18 again, if we call October the 18, and then we're going to the 7th with 51 days, okay, we've got another 187 number, okay? And what's really interesting about that, okay, so if we jump from there and go 51 days to 187 again, and then we count on from the 7th, okay, so we do 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, so if we count every day, including the 7th, okay, because I think what we should be doing is when we do a rebirth thing, we should include the day as well. But when we include that day, so we count on 5 more days right here, okay, from the 7th, and we count on those 5 more days, it takes us to the 11th, okay. I don't know. That's an interesting way of looking at it, okay. A little bit of fudgery maybe, not too bad though, okay. Not too bad. A little bit of fudgery there, but again, counting on days, it's a bit like switching a 6 to a 9, okay, and it's a bit like maybe switching a 4. Maybe there's some other numbers in there that we can kind of call other numbers as well. And do you count and include the day, or do you just count on? With the rebirth ritual, the only reason why I would include counting the day as well is simply because I'm not really sure when it comes to Lazarus, but with Jesus, okay, it's a 3-day thing, okay. We count the death day, we count, and then we count on to the rebirth day, okay, and it's 3 days, okay, inclusive of the start and the finish date, okay. So again, when it comes to counting something that's to do with the rebirth, the actual thing itself, the 5 days, so we've got a 187 number here from the 51-day jump. I'm going to include, when I count on, I'm going to try to include the day of as well. That's just my way of thinking, okay. I don't know, maybe you disagree with that idea or not, but that's the way I'm doing it, okay. And that becomes very interesting then. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there for this. I don't think, let me just look at my thing and see if there was anything I wanted to mention on there. I think we've covered all this. We've covered that this is that the date in Back to the Future here, when they do that thing, is midway between these 2 dates, the twins again. And then we have this day, ground zero, which is between the twins again, the completion, and the start and the finish. I don't know. The other interesting thing is halfway between those 2 things again is 10/11, okay? Because nothing happened here, we're going to be past 9/11, okay? Let me explain this. Had we had something happen before 9/11 this year, for the story of Odysseus, it's 20 years, okay? So it's 20 years for Odysseus to return back home. Okay, goes away to war for 10 years, and then there's 10 years with the Odyssey getting back, all right? So it's a total of 20 years. So I was kind of, with all the references to Odysseus, I was kind of expecting, and I mean even this thing with all the Greek, this sort of bay laurel stuff, and the berries and that, and the scroll work, very Greek Romanesque type art, right? So we're echoing back to Odysseus, those sort of stories. I was kind of expecting it to happen before the 20 years was up, okay? And we are now 20 years, we're already over 20 years, but we are 20 years and an awful lot of change. And when we get to 9/11 this year, it will be 21 years, okay? Just the way we count it up. And so we're going to be 21 years on, okay? And if we add these 2 together, yeah, we're 21 years on, okay? 10 plus 11 is 21, blackjack again, okay? And that's when they jump into the future. Yeah, they go to the 21st of October. Okay, so just a nice little re-reference back. And also, maybe instead of 10:10, we are now doing, 10:11, okay, for our Odysseus thing, okay. So went halfway, which is 10 years, and then we're a little late, okay. And remember, Marty says, okay, he's 25 minutes late for school, but he's late, okay. And what's going on here is this was the date, I believe, okay. This is the reference date, but we're 55 days. We're going to be 55 days late. Okay, this 55 days has disappeared, if you like, out of time right now. Okay, so this isn't what it's saying is it's not quite following in with the 20 years thing. Yeah, to come out on this day. Yeah, we're out of time at this minute. I don't know if that makes sense. We're out of that timeline. We're out of, nothing's happening for 55 days. Okay, and what that essentially means is that that's when the fire trail went off, and then it's returning on this day here, maybe, okay, which means that what that's implying is this is the same date. Yeah, the 17th of August is the same as maybe as the 11th of October. Throat's hurting, got to take a drink. But with all this being said, okay, I have got an even. I mean, this is actually maybe better than. I don't know. It's a little less subtle. The link that I'm going to do with my next video. We're going to do another current affair thing. We're going to go back to the previous video again, and we're going to discuss something. We're going to rediscuss something, and I'm going to show you the link in Back to the Future with that one as well. Okay. Thanks for watching. I will try and before I forget here, we've got this 25-day jump, yeah, because Marty was 25 days late, 25 minutes late for school to 9/11, and if we go another 25 days, okay, we get to October the 6th, and October the 6th is the day that they start filming Rust, okay, just something I forgot to mention there. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. And I guess I will catch you on the next one. Okay, thanks very much, and cheers and bye.